Hi guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Afro Millennial. If today is your first time on this channel, welcome. If you're coming back after watching a different video, welcome back and thank you for coming back. Right, so I'm going to just jump into today's topic without wasting too much time, right? So over the past few weeks, I've been hearing of the talk of a new president in Senegal, how young he is, and all that. So it just got me thinking, because I was thinking, 44 years old. I saw his picture. I thought he looked very young. Like, I didn't know his age was 44. But when I looked it up, they said he was 44 years old. And I thought, well, 44 is not that young. Like, if I had heard 25 or 30, I would have think, yeah, it's 35. Maybe 35 is even young. But 44, I didn't think it was that young. So I just started thinking, why would they say 44 is young? 44 is young compared to what, to who? So I started doing some research. I just read around a little bit. And I found out that the oldest president in the world is Cameroon's Paul Biya, and he's 90 years old. So that's in my 44 didn't seem that old anymore, right? So I was thinking, if someone is 90 years old and they're saying 44 is young, what's the average age of presidents or leaders all over the world? It just got me thinking. So I did some research, and I'd like to share some of what I found with you. So this is a research by the Pew Research Center, a research article by the Pew Research Center. And really the article is about Biden's re-election bid, blah, 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 and all that. But I want to focus on who are the oldest and youngest current world leaders, right? So I looked at this very nice chart in that article, and I saw that the median age of world leaders is 62. So I thought 62, compared to 44, if the median age is 62, then 44 is 18 years below the median age. And I think that's a very big gap, and that's significant. So I agree with those who say 44 is young, given the age of current world leaders. So, so it has here that Paul Biya of Cameroon is 90 years old, and Gabriel Boric of Chile is 37. There's also, in this article, this chart was made last year. So there's their ages last year. So I'm expecting Paul Biya to be 91 or almost 91 by now. And, well, if it's March last year, then he's 91 now. And they left out one person who I think is the youngest leader, and he is Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. At that time, he was 35, or currently he should be 36 or 37. We are not sure, because I think they are not sure of his date of birth. So it could be he is the youngest right now. There are prime ministers and other people who might be younger than him, but for a leader of a nation, of a country, he is the youngest at 36. Let's just say 36 or 37. So when you look at this chart, it shows that most leaders are between the ages of 60 and 70, right? Let me go to I just looked at another there's Wikipedia. I looked at state leaders by age, and then we have a couple of very old people who are still in office. These are current state leaders. They are 91 years old, 88, 87, 82, and then there's the oldest of all time. I'm not going to spend much time on this article, but the top 10 youngest 7. Okay, so this is the Prime Minister of France, like I said, but I'm not going to consider him as a leader, because he's not there's a president and yes, he's the prime minister, but I'm just going to consider like the president. So yes, Ibrahim Traore is 36 years old. Then there are a couple of other young people over here. So 40 is young. The president of Senegal does not make it to this list. I mean, 44 is not like part of the 10 youngest people. Yeah, so what the key takeaway I have from this Wikipedia article, which shall share the links to both articles in the description box. Okay. So what the conclusion or the summary I got from this is that the youngest of all leaders, like since they started recording the history of young leaders, the youngest are monarchs and the oldest are also monarchs. But then currently we are seeing a lot of elected leaders who are very old and still, but when you look at the population, like the world population is not that old, right? So why are old people leading a young population, like a general population of young people? Why is that the case? This just got me thinking, right? So anyway, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get back to this. Yeah. So now that we have a background of who is old or who is young as a leader, let's get back to Senegal's president, right? So Senegal's president is Bassirou Diomaye Faye. He was born on 25th March of 1980. He's a politician and a former tax inspector, and he was part of a party called PASTEF in Senegal, like a political party, but that party was dissolved in the events leading to the election. He studied law at the master's level, and he was imprisoned in 2023 in April for charges that included spreading false news, contempt of court, defamation of a constitutional body following a social media post, right? So there's a whole background to his arrest, like the original flag bearer, the flag bearer for his party, the PASTEF, which was dissolved, was imprisoned because of some charges regarding sexual assault or something like that. All that. But he believed this was unfair and he was being held unfairly or unconstitutionally or like all that. And he went to write a social media post, like as young people do, we express ourselves on social media and all that. So he wrote that post and that got him into trouble. He was imprisoned, right? And that's for all. He was released in February, if I'm right, in February this year. So he spent almost 1 year in prison for that social media post. And the flag bearer, who is now the prime minister, he appointed him as the prime minister. He was in prison for like 2 years. So he ran as an independent, he had his own party, like not like a party, but something like independent candidate. And then he had the backing of all the leaders of the former political party, right? Because it's the same party. And then Sonko was disqualified from running for president. So he ran in place of the flag bearer for his party. So he got the support of everybody because of that. I don't know if that's enough background, but anyway, he came out of prison, and right after he came out of prison, they held the election. Even though the former president, the immediate past president, tried to postpone the elections and all that, he came out, campaigned within a very short time, and he won the elections, like, hands down. So it just got me thinking, why would people want to vote for someone who just came out of prison? Like, is it because the circumstances surrounding his arrest was unfair? Because he wasn't even going to stand for president, like, in the first place. He was just a vocal person supporting his party's flag bearer, going on campaign, like missions with him and all that, but he just stood as president. He got the backing of everybody, and then they just voted for him. So why? Is it because they thought his imprisonment was unfair because there were riots and like protests and all that in Senegal before the election? So I just looked at I just want us to take a look at his policies to see what he promised them, what got them interested, or what got them inspired to, or what carried them along with his vision. So let's look at that. So first, he promised the constitutional reform, right? So he promised to reduce presidential powers and reintroduce the vice presidency. Right, currently the Senegal doesn't have a vice president. I thought Sonko was vice president, but apparently he is the prime minister. He has been appointed as the prime minister of Senegal. That Sonko is the flag bearer who was imprisoned that led to Faye being elected into power. Like, so he was supposed to stand on the ticket of his party and then just hopefully win the election and become president, but things didn't happen that way. So when Faye became president, he elected him. They've been sworn him, I think, sometime last week. Yeah. So they don't have a vice president. That's something to take note of. I didn't even know that that was a thing. Like, is the prime minister a replacement for a vice president? So if Faye is able to change the constitution, or to amend the constitution to reinstate the vice president, what will happen to the prime minister? I'm not sure. Please let me know in the comment section how these things work. Government class. I forgot all that. But yes, so he also promised to fight corruption, which I think is a very valid point. If in African countries especially, we have the problem of corruption. And so if someone is promising to fight corruption, nobody wants corrupt leaders in power, right? So if someone is promising to fight corruption, then hopefully that person is not corrupt himself, right? So that's something to make people, especially the young people who want change, who want things to be better in their countries, to vote for someone like that. Also, he promised to remove the CFA franc and establish Senegal's own currency. So like other francophone West African countries, Senegal uses the CFA franc, which is controlled by the French government, right? So if a country is truly independent, if a sovereign state, for any sovereign state, it's important for them to be able to control their financial affairs. And the currency is like one very powerful indicator of your financial standing as a country, right? So I think it's important, or it's if I were Senegalese, I would want someone who would want that kind of independence for us, right? If we are independent of our colonial rulers, then our currency should be independent of their currency. We should be able to set things, parameters, guarding our currency by ourselves and not be controlled by a different country. Yes, he also promised to renegotiate energy deals. So international deals concerning Senegal's energy, I think oil, also like all those deals. Yes, I get why the youth will be interested in voting for someone who promises to do that, because if those deals are renegotiated, there will be more jobs, the economy will be better, and all that. And it's all good for the people living in the countryside. I get why people would vote for him because of that. Also, he promised to restore the face of the military and to restructure the judiciary to make it more independent of the executive arm. So if the judicial system imprisoned him because in opposition, he made comments against the sitting government, or he made comments against the judiciary, I think there's some form of unfairness there going on. He doesn't think the judicial system is fair. There's bias. Some people in the executive arm have some power over the judiciary and are pulling strings and controlling things over there. And so the rule of law is not being allowed to govern the country and all that. So if he's promising to do that, I think, yes, it's understandable. He wouldn't want what happened to him to happen to anybody else, hopefully. Yeah. So what I got from all this, like this research about the election, all the circumstances surrounding the election, the imprisonment and election of the Senegalese president and his age, is that usually young leaders, elected young leaders, they are monarchs and all that, of course, elected young leaders, especially in Africa, they have a very large youthful following, right? And I don't know, I'm going to assume, and I'm going to think with good reason that, with good reason that the way our society is set up, older people don't really think young people should rule them, the age dynamics and all that in our culture, in our society. So it's natural. I think it's natural for young people to be more drawn to a young leader. So given the population dynamics in Africa, I believe we should be seeing more of these young leaders crop up, because Africa has a very young population. So if they are voting young people, like if young people are attracted to young leaders, then it's likely we're going to see more young presidents or leaders being elected into power, right? And aside that, I think Diomaye Faye is the only elected African leader in that age bracket, like so young. So that's why it's news. Most of them are old. But then we have a couple of other young people, and they are mostly military leaders. We've seen a couple in the past. We've seen Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. We've seen J.J. Rawlings of Ghana. They were young when they got into power. And I see something, a common trend among young leaders, apart from they being military leaders. Fire is just like an outlier. It just happened. But hopefully we'll see more of elected young leaders. But most of them are usually military leaders, and they have radical ideas. Like they push for change. They challenge the status quo. Like, we don't like the colonial rulers still meddling in our affairs. We don't like this. We don't like that. We want change. And that's what young people of today, I think that's what we are looking for. We've seen things. We've seen the older generation doing things in a certain way, and we don't really think things are going the way they should go, or the way we believe things should go. Yeah. So really, I'm just looking forward to see what this new crop of African leaders, of young leaders, are going to bring all over the world. I just want to see what they have in store for us. I just want to see, I hope they keep their promises and do what we want them to do, right? If their country wants them to do, or the young people or whoever voted for them in their country wants them to do, right? Because if we are putting our hope in them and then they let us down, then what's the point? It's yeah. So I just hope they do well. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this conversation. I want this to be a discussion. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. I want to learn from you. And then maybe if it's necessary, we'll have another discussion about this. So if you know much about these things, and just share your opinion, even if you don't know, if you have questions, like just get the conversation going, right? So do you think is it a good thing that young people are going to take leadership positions? are you optimistic about Faye's ability to move Senegal forward as a country, right? Do you think there's an advantage to having an older leader who is more experienced, who is a more seasoned politician, who can, like, who has experience with international relations and all that? Or do you think having a younger leader who has fresh ideas, who is forceful, who has all the energy to engage these other countries, political leaders of other countries, do you think that's more advantageous than experience? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Yeah, also, I hope this video is not too long. I tried to keep it short. I cut out some parts, but hopefully I got my points across. Let me know. Once you give all your discussion, your comments in the comment section, please like this video so that it gets a bigger reach. Share to your family and your friends who you think might benefit from this video, and subscribe to my channel, and so that you get any next videos. Upcoming videos are going to be more interesting, more educative, more informative, more entertaining. So please subscribe and stay tuned for my next videos, and hopefully we'll form a very nice community in this channel. Yes, so I'd like to say a very big thank you for staying to the end of this video. I enjoy talking about this topic. I like topics like these because I think as youth, as young people, we should have a voice. we should be represented. If the country, if the population of a country has mainly young people, right? If the median age of a country, of the population of the country is like 30 or 40, why should the leader be 90? How are they going to represent the interest of the general population? I think that's very important. So it's good we are seeing all this happen. So yeah, I'd like you to stay tuned for more just around the world. When I hear something I find interesting, if you think there's something we should discuss, leave it down in the comment section. We'll have a video ready for you and we'll talk about it. So yeah, thank you for staying till now, and see you in the next video.